You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Real Housewives of Orange County After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Real Housewives of Orange County After Show.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 9, Episode 17. We're 17 episodes in, and it is Eat, Pray, Run, the title of our episode. I'm your host, Grant Rutter, and with me tonight...
Hey guys, I'm Sterling Cates.
Hi, I'm April Whisenhant.
And we have 3 different opinions for 3 topics that we want to go through tonight. There's a lot to say because we're about to wrap the season up. So let's go for it. Okay, we're back in Bali. We're still there. And
We're still there.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's just as nice as it was that previous episode. We get to see a little bit more. I felt like they were almost spending too much time at that resort. But I would love to go. I just wish it wasn't so far. Do you still love it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I know they didn't like it when the monkeys were crawling on them and when they had the fish biting their feet and the whole thing. I would love to do that. I cannot wait to travel and see all of that. So
I would do the fish because I'm curious. I want another thing. But the monkeys I'm good with because I think they're like rats with tails. Sorry.
I love
so
the
cute.
monkey part.
Yeah.
I feel like that was one of my favorite parts of the episode, just seeing them actually really get into it, even though majority of them hated it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cute and fun.
I mean, the people that took to it were definitely the more fun, I think, like, the more outgoing.
Yeah.
But I would definitely be too, like, not all about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be turned off.
Well, even Tamara, when they were at the temple, she was like, okay, I'm ready to get out of here. Enough's in for me. She was ready to go shopping.
Right.
So seeing them try to bargain with all the locals and all that was pretty entertaining to me.
Right. I mean, any other thoughts about, because there was so much about just, it was almost like a vacation video. So, I mean, any other thoughts on Bali or anything before we get into the real meat of everything?
I think it was a great place for them to choose to go on their vacation. It's definitely a different place. I mean, we always see them in Mexico or wherever it is. And it was definitely cool for me to at least see to see a different part of the world.
Yeah, I liked seeing how each person took every different task, because I liked seeing Heather and Tamara go off and actually want a bike ride. Of course, Vicki's like, I'm going to the spa. But that's what I liked, seeing what each person chose to do and how they wanted to be adventurous on it.
And it was right up Shannon's alley, just the whole,
Yeah, it was
like,
perfect for her.
Yeah.
One thing I picked up in the screening room was that you guys seem to actually like Heather a little bit more this time around.
Yeah.
Has your opinion changed, or is it just a temporary?
No, I think so they talked a lot about how they like vacation Shannon more than the normal Shannon we see on the show. I think that's kind of the same for me with Heather. This whole season I've talked about Heather just like pushes my buttons with a lot of things. And I know a lot of people disagree with that, but she has this whole season. But I really like Heather in Bali. I mean,
see, I'm a Heather fan. I'm a Heather fan of when she first started.
Okay.
So to me, she kind of came back to the more real, like, hey, just like when she said to Tamara how friends don't always have to agree, whenever Tamara called her out about saying that she did say Lizzie's dress was ugly. I like that she seemed more real. She was more relaxed. She wasn't so all in the drama like she's been. So it just brought back the memories of the good old Heather.
Good old Heather. What'd you think, Grant?
Well, she completely took me off guard when she said it's okay to disagree, because anyone that has an opinion that isn't hers, including her husband,
Right.
doesn't seem to go that way. It doesn't seem to be okay. So it was a little off for me.
Yeah, and we talked last week a little bit about this, but I think another thing is that she is not the center of this drama for once, and I think that she really enjoys that.
Right.
Just kind of observing and being like, haha, this isn't my fault.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that with her.
Right. Well, I'm really annoyed, but continuing to be annoyed by Danielle, but both Danielle and Lizzie have annoyed me this week. And if you look at
Shocker.
that Danielle, I know, if you look at that Danielle, she's always got a pissed look on her face.
Yeah.
She's probably getting paid to be on this trip. She's lucky to be there.
Yeah.
And one of the commenters in a previous episode said that she was supposed to be the 6th housewife and they got rid of her. And that's why she was in those flashbacks with all the different housewives and they were talking about Shannon, because I guess they were trying to build her up, but it just, I mean, come on.
She never
says anything,
No.
so they have no material to go off
Yeah,
of.
no, they need someone with a personality. I don't know the woman personally, but I mean, she's not TV material.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Danielle is she'll always be involved in these little private conversations, whether it's just her and Lizzie or if it's her and Tamara or whatever. But then when it comes to comes to a head at like the dinner, she never even says anything. Like she doesn't contribute anything to the bigger conversation.
No.
And that's probably why she's not as involved as some of the other housewives are.
I agree with Vicki when she refers to them as Dumb and Dumber. I do.
Yeah.
So true. Whenever they were at the market and she's like, I paid $8 for this. Wait, but she told me $20. I'm like, oh, come on, girls. It's just hilarious to see, though.
Did you catch the snub when they were at the cabana and Tamara came in and said hello to everyone except for Dumb and Dumber? Did you catch that? I didn't. They called it out.
I didn't see that either, so it's definitely a snub.
Yeah, so Shannon basically, so Shannon tells Vicki that Tamara is treating her unfairly, and that's been, everything that's come out. And Vicki seems to not have many thoughts on Shannon versus Tamara up until today's episode.
Right. Well, I think that Vicki, she's vocalized her support for Shannon. I think she really does like Shannon. And now her and Tamara are kind of on good terms. She's let Tamara back in her life after everything that happened last season. But at the same time, and Vicki's fine with that. But then anytime Brooks gets brought up or Brooks is involved in anything, that's when Vicki really gets involved. And she doesn't like to see that. So I think when because it's not as personal to her when it's just Shannon and Tamara. But when Brooks gets brought into it, then it's a much bigger deal to her.
Right. I like how Vicki kind of apologized for Tamara in the whole thing, how she was kind of like, okay, I love you and I love her, so therefore I apologize to you because that embarrasses me for one of my good friends to say that to you. But she's playing Switzerland in this. She hasn't really said anything too bad about Tamara. Of course, she disagrees with some of the things that Tamara has said about Shannon, but she's not bad-mouthing Tamara in the meantime, and she's not bad-mouthing Shannon. So she's playing it like a real friend should. Like, I'm sorry someone else treated you that way, but this is also my friend. So until Brooks gets brought up. Like
all of her emotions just come into play when Brooks gets involved.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I think in a way almost Vicki takes her friendship with Tamara more seriously, that it affects her so deeply that Tamara isn't approving of this and the people in her life. Because Vicki said that many times, like, I have good people in my life and I have the great people in my life. Like, that's really important to her.
Yeah.
So to me, it's definitely more of a betrayal to Vicki than it is to Tamara. Again, I have a hard time following Tamara this season because I don't know who is Tamara and then who's OC hot wife Tamara.
Right.
Like, I don't know the difference too much anymore because she used to be more like chill and goofy, and now she's just really just stirring the pot constantly. And in the whole episode, forget eat, pray, run. It should have just been she said, she said, she said.
Yeah, it was definitely a she said episode, and we still don't really know what happened with any of these issues. Like the whole Lizzie and Tamara, we don't know if she said she wants to shag Eddie or marry Eddie. Like we don't know what the source of all this drama is.
When they have brought that up at the table, to nobody's surprise, Puppet Danielle's like, oh yeah, no, she just said marry. She just said marry. So like, and of course that they just blew that up from there. What do you think?
Yeah, well, obviously Danielle took Lizzie's side because that's like her, I don't know, Siamese twin or something.
Dumb and Dumber.
But then Heather said, no, you did say bleep Eddie or whatever. He wanted to shag. That's good. I was like, how do I say this? So Heather is saying, no, I adore you, Lizzie, but you did say that. And then Danielle, but can we trust Danielle? I have no idea.
See, I don't feel like we can. I feel like she most likely didn't even hear it, and she's just saying that kind of just to have something to say or just to stand up for her friend. Right. The look in Heather's eye made me believe that Lizzie definitely said shag. But, I mean, obviously we haven't seen it, so we don't know for sure.
What I want to know is where the flashback is. They've been throwing flashbacks at us the past few episodes, and they're not they're not showing us out. And I think they definitely would have gotten that moment on tape.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We haven't seen any of Marry, Shag, Kill play out on television.
Maybe they're coming back with that for the season finale, they'll
Yeah.
like show us what
it'll
really
just
happened.
drop it in. Yeah, that has to be on tape. I think that Lizzie said that she would want to F the husband because she was probably drunk.
I do too.
Well, yeah, but wasn't it you're just mad because, or you're just jealous because your husband wants to shag me or whatever?
Right.
When,
I love
but
when
Lizzie's
Tamara
saying
says
she
that.
said Mary, and everyone else is saying she said expletive. So
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's just like how Heather asked Tamara, she's like, would you be as mad if she said shag? And she's like, no, of course not. So I think it's definitely not just the fact that she said Eddie or whatever. It is the fact that she was clearly trying to rub it in her face
Right.
because she was a little tipsy. I think Tamara is taking a little overboard. It is offensive, but it's not
Right.
the worst thing in
Well,
the entire world to happen.
That, and also they were all having to choose people at that same table, so other people's husbands were having to say the same thing about someone else. So like, I just want to know. I really just want to watch that game. I need them. I need them to put that.
Why
in episode.
would they play that game? What do they expect is going to come from that?
I don't even know.
Only bad
Drama.
things.
Yeah, and
exactly
especially if they're drinking, no wonder why. But I find it strange that Tamara keeps, well, not really strange, but she's just looking to nitpick on Lizzie with anything she can.
Yeah.
She keeps
Yeah.
bringing that game up, and it's so high school, it's so childish. Like, if you have a real problem with someone, it's not just from something like that. Clearly, her marriage is not in trouble with someone like Lizzie, because Lizzie's married. She's not some single chick out there trying to like hone in on a marriage.
Right.
She already has kids, so I don't know what she would have to gain from that. Well, I don't know why that's so offensive. Obviously, people wouldn't say that to someone that's married. You don't say that stuff, but you also don't play that game.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think regardless of what Lizzie actually said, my thing with this whole Tamara Lizzie situation is that we've seen Tamara talk behind every single housewife's back to other people. She's talked to Lizzie about Shannon. She's talked to Danielle about Lizzie. She's talked to Heather about Vicki. Like we've seen her actually do that.
Right.
And then she says something completely different to their face. Whereas Lizzie like really hasn't been, other than this whole stuff with Tamara, like I feel like she hasn't really lied to anyone about anything that anyone said.
Well, we don't know. See, Tamara's a proven liar.
Yeah.
And then we've got this new chick, Lizzie. We
Well,
don't
then
know
we
what
don't really
she's
know.
capable of. Yeah.
But like everything she told Shannon about what Tamara said about Shannon was all on tape. We saw her actually say those things. So that
Mostly,
but Tamara was like, okay, so obviously Lizzie told Shannon about our conversation. I was
Yeah,
like, okay, well
yeah.
don't tell Lizzie that sort of
Right.
stuff if you don't want it to get back to Shannon.
Do you think that was her plan all along, to be that sloppy and that messy and just shit talk everybody?
Honestly, I don't even know. I thought it was funny that she called Heather the shit stirrer this episode when really it's just been her the whole
Yeah.
the whole
Exactly.
time.
I feel like the entire time she was just trying to shift the blame. Even at the dinner, she was like, Lizzie's just trying to shift the blame from her for saying this comment about Eddie. And it's like, no. You're just trying to shift the blame on everyone else, because I mean, that's clearly what she's doing. She was arguing with Shannon at one point, and then it's like, oh, no, wait, here's Lizzie. But you said this, and you said this. And it's just, I don't know. She's just,
There's
it's a hot mess
There's
right
so
now.
many things with Tamara coming to a head right now. We've got Lizzie versus Tamara, Shannon versus Tamara, Vicki secretly versus Tamara because she doesn't even
let's
say
talk
anything
about
to
that.
her.
Yeah, there's not much to say, but first of all, Vicki was looking hot. She was burning up. I don't know where they were, but they were outside.
It's hot there. Yeah, it's humid. Yeah.
But I gotta tell a quick story. I was in New York and I saw Vicki actually
Oh, you did?
at Angelo's. I went there because I do Real Housewives of New Jersey, and I'm gonna tell that story in the next episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey after show here on AfterBuzz. But while I was there, I walked right by this chick at the table with two men, and it looked like Vicki, but I was like, well, it could be anybody. But then I was like, well, I'm gonna do my research. So I went on Twitter and I was like, all right, where are you? She's in New York, and then she posted a picture with one of the housewives' husbands at Angelo's. So I was like, that has to be her.
Yeah.
So I got a good look, and it was. And I have to say, she looked good. She
Did you talk
really
to her?
did. No, I didn't. I tried
You
my
should
best.
have. Come on, Grant.
She was,
What you
all right,
doing?
well, here's what I did. Here's what I tried. I got up a few times, but she was with a group of people talking. And then I was planning and kind of watching her for when she was going to get up to leave. So then I made a fake trip to the bathroom, waited a minute for her to get her belongings. And then I came up the staircase and I planned to run right into her. And I did.
I love it.
And I did. But she was with like the owner, not the owner, the manager of the restaurant or whatever. And he was like so enamored by her. And he was going and introducing her to everybody at all the tables. And so I was like, well, how am I supposed to like tap this one on the shoulder and be like, do you watch AfterBuzz TV? And like, what am I gonna say? So I tried that for a minute, but he was like, oh, this is Vicki from Real Housewives of California. And I was like, oh, this guy doesn't even know.
California.
Of California.
I'm surprised she didn't correct him though.
I know.
Orange County.
She was with one of the writers, the co-writer, I guess, of her book, and that was when she was in New York, and the next day she was on What Happens Live, and so that's what she was there for.
Gotcha.
I wanted to talk to her so badly, but when I walked in, she was eating. So I was like, you can't really do that. And then I made the timing, and then this guy has to introduce a Real Housewife of California. Like, but she did. I was really surprised that she looked as good as she did because she's kind of looking kind of rough this season.
Sometimes
Not
she
to
can
be
look like a
rude.
hot mess.
Not to be rude, but I mean, this episode was not her most glamorous episode.
Right.
The humidity doesn't help.
Yeah.
No, the humidity doesn't help me either, Vicki. It's okay.
Well, I ended up tweeting her anyway because I was like, she was like, I'm at Angela's. I was like, oh, I'm here too. And then I swear when I walked by and they were introducing her, one of the guys was in my way and he said, oh, excuse me, Grant. I swear he said my name. Swear he said my name, but I don't know if for real. Maybe he like manages her Twitter or something if they were close, but I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. It was like under his breath. So
That'd be really creepy.
That'd be really creepy. So I hope not. And I'm not saying that to have like a big head or anything. I'm just saying it was just weird, but I think it was in my head.
Yeah, it might have been.
I think it was in my head. And I kind of strolled around Mulberry Street to see if I could bump into her again. And I was like, Grant, you need to go home. You're not going to bump into Vicki, but I'll give my thoughts.
Vicki.
I'll give my thoughts on Angelo's during the Real Housewives of New Jersey. I wasn't a huge fan of that place. Anyway, so while we're talking about Vicki and her hot self, I want to talk about this thing with Tamara that she's got going on. We mentioned it, but she didn't say anything. But she was crying when Tamara wanted to go to the bathroom. They all have to go to the bathroom on this show.
Yeah.
Right.
None of them can hash anything out in person.
Yeah, and well, Tamara and Vicki have a close enough relationship where Tamara can tell if something's wrong with Vicki. She's being quiet. They're at their last night in Bali, their dinner, the whole thing. Like, so she obviously can tell that something's up. So when she tries to bring it up, Vicki's just like, no, like I don't want to talk about it, whatever. But the whole point of the show is that you talk about it. We want to see you talk about it.
I think she could tell that Vicki was actually really upset. And,
Yeah.
Cameras can't go to certain parts of the bathroom, I guess. So maybe that would have been their quiet little time, which kind of makes me think of Tamara as being, she was trying to be a good friend to Vicki in that moment because she didn't want to hash out in front of everyone else, but she also probably just didn't want to start the drama right then, you know, from the get-go because Vicki was being weird and awkward, the second they sat down. But I don't know, it was just so weird how after all of the fighting went down and everything, Tamara gets up and then Vicki starts crying. It just came so out of left field for me because I'm like, wait, weren't you just arguing about this?
Obviously, Vicki wasn't. I feel like she just wasn't paying any attention to what the other arguments that were going on. I think she was just so in her head about this whole Brooks comment and Tamara calling him a creep behind her back and this whole thing.
And she was betrayed. She really felt really betrayed. She let this woman back into her life, which I can understand.
Yeah. What was interesting to me about this dinner, aside from the Tamara Vicki awkwardness, was that so Shannon goes into this dinner like pumped that she's going to bring up all this drama, but she doesn't even say anything. Like, it's super awkward. They're all just kind of like looking around, and Heather's like, all right, I'm going to start. I'm going to say something. But then Heather brings up something that happened weeks ago at the groundbreaking ceremony for their thing, a comment that David had made to Heather, an inappropriate comment that while she was getting on the bull or whatever, and apparently Terry's mad about it. But why didn't they bring that up a long time ago?
What was weird is Shannon was on Access Hollywood Live, and they showed that clip, and that was for like when she was promoting the show. Like, it had been like 3 weeks in, and she had made her appearance, and they showed that clip, and they were discussing that sexual comment, but we haven't seen it on the show until now. So I don't know. I feel, especially with the flashbacks, there's something I don't want to say messy, but it's jumbled. It's not very linear this season. It's all over the place, which makes, like, we mentioned this last week, and it makes for an interesting season because you don't know what they're gonna pull out. But it's odd and strange that they would bring something so old back.
Right. Well, nothing really came of it anyway. Shannon just said, well, if David apologizes, then we can move forward in our relationship. But as we saw in the preview for next week, it seems like something's definitely going to happen with Terry and David.
Right.
They have such these tense dinner parties with Terry and David.
They do. All right, so Lizzie and Tamara Have we covered them yet? I'm trying to remember
Yeah,
all
we
these
did.
feuds.
I don't know.
We
So many.
covered them. We covered the comment.
Okay,
the Eddie comment.
And then Tamara and Heather. It came out after Tamara left that she's been going around calling, Heather anorexic, and that she wasn't a real friend to be in the wedding. And I'm almost wondering, because they don't allude to production when they edit these shows, but I'm almost wondering if Shannon mentioned that Tamara only had Heather in this wedding because it was like part of the show. It would be good for the show.
Yeah, I don't know, but if that is true, that she, that she thinks that they're not good enough friends for her to be in her wedding, that's like such a low blow to hear.
So bad.
That someone you thought was, and it was actually really sad for me to hear Heather say, that was such a special moment for me, this whole thing. I was like, wow, I've never really like empathized with Heather before, but now I feel really bad for her.
Well, I was just thinking whenever you said that, while we were watching that part, I feel so lame for saying this, but I actually like got little chills and tears just a little bit, because you could tell she was so genuinely upset.
Right.
And you think about, everyone's been in a fight with a friend. You think about when someone that you really care about really hurts you, and she actually seemed genuinely upset about it. So it just made me feel for her. And Tamara kind of, I feel like, skated away from that question because she was just like, oh, are you kidding me?
She's a liar. It's so easy to call someone a liar when you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I did think it was really big of Heather to go up to Tamara's room to check on her, like blah, 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 and just told her straight up that that's what they had just said.
Yeah.
So I think Heather's not really sure who to trust in this situation.
Oh, Heather did the whole thing with a glass of French rosé in her hand.
Yeah,
so
she did.
I
Keeping
give
it
her
classy.
star of the week with her champs.
Yeah.
Well, no, not champs, but next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just rewind for a second back to the Vicki and Tamara situation, because we really didn't get to see them talk about it. We got to see again a lot of she said, people talking behind other people's back, and a lot of it was all done in the confessional. So we really never got to see them talk about it. But one thing that stood out to me that Vicki said though is that she said if she loved me, she'd love my decisions, and I feel like that's not necessarily true. If you're friends with somebody, you want them to be honest about how they feel about certain things you do, like whatever. Like just because you're friends with someone doesn't mean they have to always agree with your choices.
I completely agree, because I definitely think there are ways to say it. You're not going to tell your friend, oh my gosh, I hate that top. You're going to be, I don't know, that's a bad example. But, there are ways to say that you don't agree with something that they're doing without hurting them and still being behind them and still supporting them.
Right.
But I just think that it just surprises me, because I feel like Vicki should have asked Tamara about it, and the fact that she's only kind of listening to other people, she doesn't know these people. She knows that Tamara has lied to her before for sure, and that she has said bad things about Brooks, but like, come on, let's be a grown-up and actually go and ask her about it instead of just, listening to all
She
these
totally
little
overreacted.
Well, and it was something serious though. It's not a secret that Tamara has issues with Brooks, and it's not, and like I felt like last season when she had confronted Brianna about Brooks and Brooks maybe not being good for Vicki, I feel like those probably were genuine feelings. I think that she was really worried about Vicki in that time, and she has every right to be so. But now she's going to Vicki, and we're seeing her say, "I love Brooks. We've gotten over this. Let's be friends." Blah blah blah. Right. But then calling him a creep to everyone else. So it's like if she doesn't approve, she needs to stick with that. Be honest with Vicki about it, and then we can go from there. You can't keep flip flopping just for the sake of trying to keep your friendship.
Right.
I get her saying, because she loves Vicki, she does want to be her friend, but obviously there are sometimes, like I said, we have to support our friends when we don't necessarily really want them to do something. So I feel like I don't know. I mean, no, Tamara shouldn't have said that Brooks is a creep, even though I don't think we've seen her saying that he was a creep just yet. But I think that the things that she has said, like how we saw the clip of her saying, maybe there's someone out there better for Vicki.
Right.
It's not that bad. That's not necessarily, it's definitely not supporting her, but she also, she wants to be her friend and she cares about her. So
it's a fair comment.
What is she supposed to do? I don't know.
I think that it comes back to Vicki's character, and she just wants approval. I guess she didn't have that in her marriage, and she wants 100% approval. She wants everyone to think, and so she knows that she's making the right moves.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what she wants.
That's that reassurance.
Yeah, and it's just, that life doesn't work that way, especially if someone has a different opinion.
Yeah.
That's it.
See, I'm the same way. I like for people, you know, to if like my mom doesn't approve of something that I do, it's detrimental to me. You
Then
know?
you're not going to do it.
But at the same time, you know, you also have to realize there's never going to be a thing that you do that everyone agrees with. So it's like, come on, Vicki. You know she's never, even though she has obviously said we're past this, whatever, she's still never going to be like, yay, Brooks, you're amazing. I mean, maybe she would be in shock of my life, but I would love if she would, but
I feel like Tamara definitely has a lot of people attacking her right now, you know, and it's probably with good reason we have seen her talk a lot behind all of these women's backs. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair for Vicki to say, I lost a friend tonight when you didn't even talk to her about it. Like if that friendship is important to you, you will talk about it, you will hash it out, and hopefully we'll see that in the season finale.
I want to rewind also because I like the moment where Heather came over to Shannon on the way to dinner and she apologized for any way that she made her feel. You know, she really wasn't like, I guess she just kind of she told Shannon exactly what she wanted to hear before she ripped into her and made the comments about her husband.
Yeah. Well, Shannon approached her and said, "Thank you for including me on this trip, blah, 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 blah." And then Heather said, "I appreciate you saying that," and did offer an apology. I was just like, okay, should have done that 5 episodes ago, but here we are. And then she sits down and brings up more drama at the table about the Terry and David comment. So whether or not they're actually going to get over this and be good friends is to be determined at this point.
At the beginning of the season, Shannon kept saying like, "Oh, just wait," because everyone was like, you know, like, "Oh, is your marriage okay? Like, are you okay?" She was like, "Oh, it's all gonna play out. Just wait." And now it's like that redemption is starting, where we're really seeing that like she's for the most part like a regular chick, like not too crazy. Like I don't know if she has a drinking problem. I think that's so over the top and that's so easy to just tag somebody with.
Right.
You know, but I mean, I liked her from the beginning, but now I feel like I'm like even more like liking her right now, and I think that she really has cemented her place on the show.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I think she's definitely a good addition to the show.
You'd like to see her back?
For sure.
Yeah.
Anything else going on at this dinner? I think we're good.
Other than Tamara running away hysterically, that was funny.
She had her shoes off, right?
Yeah. That was just such an unnecessary exit.
But
you
such
guys.
a Tamara exit.
Yeah.
They were. She sprinted.
again.
She sprinted out of there.
She is just making television.
Yeah, she is. Can't blame her.
She's been on it for long enough. She knows what to do.
What's the flight like home? Because none of these women are really excited to be around Tamara. So
Didn't
that's
it
like
take them
18 hours or something?
Well, it took them like 26 hours total, like with all their layovers and stuff last time, or 23 or something. But it is an 18-hour flight. So that's going to be really awkward.
So how do you go from like where like you've got Vicki crying in the corner and then like you're going to get on a plane and you're not going to talk about it, I guess, and so you come back to Orange County?
I hope they talk about it. I mean, it's clearly the natural next step for them to talk about it if they are as good of friends as they say that they are, which I really do think that they are. But I don't know. Vicki seemed so out of it and not wanting to talk about it. So maybe she will just pop a sleeping pill and sleep the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, like if that was a real friendship, like you wouldn't wait 26 hours, you know, like
for the next episode,
especially when they're next to you.
Yeah,
you know, because I feel like I can see it when we come back. It's gonna be like Tamara is like saying goodbye to her son, and she's like, "I just came back from Bali, and all this is happening at once, and now my son's leaving." So I feel like that's gonna be something that they're gonna do. Where I want to like see, we saw them travel there. I feel like if this was real, natural, it would play out on the travel.
Yeah, I don't know, and it might all come back up in the reunion. So we don't know what they're filming, what we're gonna see next week.
I read an article about the reunion. Let's get into some news and gossip, and we'll talk about it.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So I read an article about the reunion, and apparently producers are very happy with it because it had everything from tears to drama to fighting, and everyone was involved.
Sounds about right.
And and the only husbands that were there were Terry, surprise, the sixth housewife.
He is the sixth housewife. So funny.
And then David, Shannon's husband. So it'll be interesting to see that go down. Supposedly it was a very good one, and that's coming up a lot sooner than I thought.
I know. I cannot believe next week's the season finale.
Yeah.
I feel like there's still so much they have to resolve, though. But I guess that's why the reunions are so
Right.
good, because
Yeah.
most of the time it's not resolved.
Yeah.
exactly.
And when did this show start? What month was it? Do we remember? Was it April or May?
Oh gosh, 17
I don't know.
weeks ago.
Something like that.
Okay, because I'm thinking like I'm thinking it ended as. I'm thinking they stopped taping as soon as it began, so it's still like kind of fresh, especially to see everything play out.
Yeah.
And then another article I read, which I think is nonsense, but it talks a lot about Tamara and her marriage and how producers aren't happy with her because she doesn't have a lot to offer the show, and supposedly she's a huge diva to work with.
The second part's not that surprising. First part, I think she has way more to offer than, say, Danielle, Lizzie,
Oh yeah.
anyone else. So I don't think that part's
Yeah.
true.
I think maybe it's because how Eddie is known for not liking to be on the show that much. So
Yeah.
since a lot of, kind of outside drama is centering around their marriage right now, even though we obviously don't know if it's true or not, I could see them not being happy with her for that, but that's not her fault, and that's Eddie. And she definitely, marriage aside, has so much to bring to this show still. I mean, that's why we talk about her
The whole
majority of the
episode.
time.
Right. Yeah. She's the center of everything.
Exactly.
And let's get into some predictions. Actually, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
One quick prediction I want to make, which really stems from this episode, is that I think Lizzie is going to be asked back for another season.
I could see that.
And if they asked Lydia back from last season, who really did not much of anything except show out,
Yeah.
she
Oh,
showed out for like an
Actually,
episode.
that was real for a second, and then I was like, oh yeah, Lydia.
She like showed out like for the finale, it was against Slade or whatever.
Yeah.
And they asked her back. So Lizzie, as boring as I don't, as
Well,
I
the
think she
first
is.
part of the season, every week we were like, okay, when's this Lizzie girl gonna make something of herself? But she's kind of proving herself to contribute something here towards the end of the season.
Right.
I don't know exactly what that something is, or if I like it.
Is it bad that I liked when both Lizzie and Tamara called each other trash?
Yeah.
I kind of liked that so bad.
I do like Lizzie though, because I feel like she doesn't beat around the bush with these ladies. She kind of came in full force, said, you said this, you said that, you're so insecure, like the whole thing. I was just like, well, she's kind of right.
I like how I agree. I like how Lizzie is very upfront. She tells everyone what she thinks, but I think it's just some of her mannerisms that bother me a little bit, which that's just being silly and whatever. of
When
course,
she was doing
but-
that chanting thing during the
I was like,
the
please
Balinese
stop.
dance or whatever, I was just like, okay, that's enough. That
Yeah.
she could have stopped doing that 30 seconds ago.
Did you catch she had to wear that crown that she wore to the dinner previously in the streets for shopping?
But did she buy that new one, or
They were buying
I
it for their
don't
husband.
Yeah, that
I
was.
don't know.
I don't know. She had something. I don't know. I was hoping she wasn't going to take that paper crown to go shopping. I don't know.
Who knows?
She needs to get rid of that lapdog, Danielle.
True.
Yes.
All right, so next week, the finale. It looks like a big week. There's arguments. People are crying. Is Tamara going to talk with Vicki?
David and Terry.
And
Oh,
then,
yeah. We
and
have
then.
a word for you. I can't wait.
What
to see
is
that.
it? And then.
Oh yes, I was like, that's a word that doctors use. So I was like, this is not okay.
More like fifth graders, but okay. And then Brooks and Tamara looks really interesting. I always like the season finales of Real Housewives of Orange County because I feel like they always have that. They used to have the end of summer party,
Right.
And it was always like Vicky's or Gina's house or whatever. But and I miss Gina, but they would always like have like these sit downs where they would have like these like the different pairs who like have been like not even necessarily housewives, but like the friends of the housewives or like the husbands like would sit down. So it like follows in those same footsteps. So I'm excited to see what goes on, and I hope it actually goes somewhere. I'd like to see like some action.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see.
I'm excited for the reunion. I can't wait.
I'm excited to see Tamara and Brooks talk, which it looks
Yeah.
like you said, they're gonna have a good conversation. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited for that.
It
And
looks
the
pretty
reunion, too.
cordial though. I felt like there wasn't that much drama
Well,
as I would have
that's
expected.
actually what I'm excited to see is that it was a real conversation between the two
A
of them. and
mature
not just like,
conversation.
"You're
Yeah,
crazy,
exactly.
You have evil
Wow.
eyes.
I think that Brooks has really learned etiquette on camera now.
Yeah.
He knows like what makes him look like an ass and what he needs to do to clean
Yeah,
up
got
his
a
act.
publicist.
Yeah, so I think he's just like whatever Tamara says, he's just gonna like shake his head. I don't think
Yeah.
we're gonna see him get angry. But that's it for our predictions. So where can we find you, ladies?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
And I'm on Twitter at Grants__rants. And I have a new Grants Rants out with a special guest, my grandmother, and we go through hot topics. And check it out on YouTube, and I will tweet it out as well. Check me out, Real Housewives of New Jersey, and thank you. That's it for us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.